Hello and welcome back to the sound of my voice. How's it going? That's not an intro I've used before. Maybe it's one I'll use again. Who knows? Today I want to talk about my aims on YouTube and Twitch and Patreon and generally the creative media that I produce. What are my aims? Let's just list them off really quickly and then we'll talk a bit more in depth about each one. In order of priority, number 1, creative expression. Number 2, authenticity. Number 3, sense of community. And number 4, to make the money. So let's break down exactly what I mean by each one of these. Number 1, creative expression. I think that's probably fairly obvious. You know, I want to express my ideas, my thoughts, my feelings. I want to have that outlet for the things that I end up thinking about and feel like I'm being productive and producing new things. For me, that's really one of the driving forces of my life. And I've long learned since I was quite young that if I'm not being productive in some way, then I'm just miserable. I need that to feel fulfilled. So for me, creatively expressing myself is a requirement, not just an aim. So there's number 1. Number 2, authenticity, I think, is an interesting one because there's a lot of different ways to interpret authenticity. The definition I'm rolling with, which I've kind of just come up with, so maybe there's a better word than authenticity, but it's truly having my heart behind what I'm doing. For it to be meaningful or at least engaging to me. I'm not just making something, say, because I think other people will enjoy it. It's for me almost as much as it's aimed at any audience out there. So authentic, that it comes from a true place of motivation and feeling. So number 3, sense of community. That one, again, kind of like number 1, is quite obvious in some way. It's weird because you might imagine that, hey, you have a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers. Surely you are wrapped around by a community. It really isn't like that. It's far more like I'm standing on top of a bridge, and whenever I make some content, I throw it off that bridge, and I hope to hear some cheers from down below. You know, there's a real disconnect, and that can be, I was going to say alienating. Alienating is not the right word. It can be quite lonely, I guess. I mean, there's very few substitutes for real human interaction, and the more and more you distill that down from talking to people over Discord is pretty good, down to YouTube comments. I mean, I suppose hierarchically, if we were to try and order these things, you'd have talking to someone in real life, talking to someone voice over IP like Discord, Twitch comments which are happening live, and then YouTube comments are way down below. So having that sense of community and feeling like people are actually engaged and caring and feeling like I'm a part of something and I'm actually contributing to people, that reciprocal nature of being an artist, I suppose, is something that is probably the one thing that I've lacked the most and has defined my approach recently. It's been the one factor which has defined the recent content I've made much more than any previous content that I made years ago. Longing to reconnect, as I said many times back when I was kind of restarting, a few months ago now. And then finally, number 4, to make money. Bling, 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 bling. As you might imagine. It's just smart, really. It's taking advantage of the opportunity that's presented to me. While making money isn't how I want to steer the content I make, which is why it's the lowest on the list of priorities, it is just something that's smart to do. And I think everybody would like to earn more money, at least up until that kind of happiness threshold where I think I read a study, anyone who earns more than, say, 50,000-ish pounds per year your happiness doesn't really increase with earning more money beyond that. But certainly, up until that point, it's always nice to have some more money. It makes the grocery shopping just that little bit less stressful every week. And so if the opportunity is there, then it's smart to go for it. That's why I feel it's important to at least mention that. So, how am I going to achieve these goals? Well, if we take a look at the content that I'm making currently, the main regular thing that I'm making right now, I have two main things which are both really great ways to illustrate my points here. Number one is Harv and Porn. The talk show happens every Wednesday, 9 PM GMT, twitch.tv/Harv and Porn, patreon.com/Harv and Porn. That allows me to express my creativity, because we are making skits, comedy skits, where I'm trying completely new stuff, script writing, green screen, editing together, audio engineering. There's such a domain that I've never really truly explored that I'm finally, exploring, and that is just such wonderful creative expression for me, and I'm really enjoying that. Authenticity, the bulk of the talk show revolves around a specific topic where Porn and I output our thoughts and speak about how we feel or what we think about a particular topic and explore ideas. My heart certainly behind that. When we get into a really good conversation, I think that really does hit the authenticity and sense of community. Earlier I ranked the hierarchical order of how much a particular feedback from a viewer makes you feel like you're part of a community, and while comments are pretty low, I think live Twitch interaction ranks higher than, after the fact comments posted on YouTube. So certainly having comments there in the live chat is good for that, but more importantly, being able to actually do something with another person, to be able to make content with Roy, to collaborate with him on all our creative expressive projects that go into that talk show, that's really important. And staving off the feeling of existential loneliness one video at a time. No, but it's great. And as a result, I suppose now we've come to step 4, aim for make money. Harv and Porn isn't really doing that. We've got the infrastructure set up, but we've not really got the audience, and people aren't engaged to that degree for us to be really making an awful lot of side income. But hopefully that is something which will ramp up over time. And to be honest, if I'm satisfying those first 3 aims of mine personally, that's good enough for me at this point. So I'm happy that we're doing those things. And the money for me is slightly less important. For Roy, it's slightly more important because he does make a living off of his YouTube and Twitch content. But Harv and Porn, by all accounts, a good example of something I'm doing right with my free time currently. And it's important to think about this in terms of time, because we're all mortal. And there's going to be that day when we look back at our life and how we lived it, and we go, why did I waste so many hours, days, weeks of my time doing that when it wasn't really achieving anything for me, on my goals for life, And so we come to KSP, which, hot topic for my YouTube channel, always has been the only source of kind of angst and drama, I feel. Always keeps on coming back to, I don't want to be making KSP videos, and it sounds like a bit of a tired, spiel by this point. But that's just been emphasized recently. The nostalgia trip I've had on KSP has been fun up until this episode 5 that I tried to record, went away, heart really wasn't into it, wasn't authentic at all. I was making it because I felt like people wanted to watch it, not because I wanted to make it, which should have been a red flag at the time. I shouldn't have made the video in the first place, but hey, I went and tried, and I only kind of gradually realized that over time. Creative expression was utterly devoid. I wasn't even doing the kind of comedy cutting, back and forth stuff that I was doing in the earlier episodes. This one was pretty much post-commentary, and so it was just time-lapse. Really lacking in creative expression there. Sense of community, while I was there making the video, there wasn't much of a community around me, but that's less important. There's the YouTube engaged people. So if anything, it does appeal to 3 and 4 on the list, the community and the money. But those are my lowest priorities. And like I said at the very start, creative expression is practically a requirement for me, more so than it is an aim. And so, yeah, I got most of the way through that. I made a bit of a emotional kind of ramble about how, god damn it, I'm in this position again, where I'm not enjoying it. Why am I doing this? I shouldn't be doing this. So I've realized I shouldn't be doing that. And that's part of what has prompted me to go away and to make this podcast and to think about my aims for YouTube. So I'm going to be dropping the KSP stuff. I'm going to focus on the stuff I'm enjoying, Harv and Porn, and this big D&D narrative podcast storytelling episode, which I'm really so excited about that obviously that is what I should be spending my hours, my days, my weeks working on when I'm not actually at my job. I want to spend my time pursuing my goals, being productive, on the things I enjoy and I actually care about. And so obviously that is what I'm going to do. So hopefully that appeals to you. Thanks for listening. I hope you, I hope you're interested and engaged and feel like you're part of a community. And maybe listening to this has increased that sense of engagement and community. So regardless, thanks for supporting me if you listen to this on Patreon. Thanks for listening if you're listening elsewhere. And I hope you have a good day. And I will see you in whatever next thing of mine you observe. Speaking of community, I have a Discord server. That's right. I have a Discord server. So if you're interested in seeing more day-to-day posts from me, then you can join that. The link is available in a public post on patreon.com/HOCgaming.